In this video I'm going to show you how to make an animation similar to the one seen in this video right here. So the programs that we're going to be using are Adobe Photoshop. It doesn't matter whether you're using CS5, CS4, CS3 and older. We're going to be using basic tools. And we're going to be using Sony Vegas Pro. Now, you may need 8, 9, 10, 11. It might not work in Movie Studio, HD, Platinum, whatever it's called. First off, in Adobe Photoshop, what we're going to do is open a new document just by pressing Ctrl and N on the keyboard. And then what we need to do is make sure the width is 1920 and the height is 1080, a resolution of 300. We need to make sure the background contents is transparent and leave everything else as default. So once you've done that, you just need to press Alt and Backspace, providing your default colors are black and white, to fill it with black. Then you need to press Ctrl and T to transform it, and we're going to make this a little bit smaller than the actual canvas size. So when that's done, you need to double click on the new layer to bring up the layer style. We're going to go straight to Inner Glow. We're going to put the choke all the way up to 10, leave the size to about 5. We're going to change the color to white. We're going to go down to stroke, make sure it's 1 pixel for the size, and just keep it black. It needs to be outside for the position, and you know what, we'll add a drop shadow, so we'll click on drop shadow right here, set it to 90 for the angle. We're going to put it to 0 for the distance, and we'll keep the size at 5. Switch to blend mode to normal. So if we zoom in here, you can see this pretty much like this. That should be pretty good to go. For the next part, the power bars, what we're going to do is we're going to take the rectangle tool, or the rounded rectangle tool, and we're just going to make a bar here like so. We're going to click on the layer again to bring up the layer style. This time we're just going to use the gradient overlay tool, and what we need to do is select reverse. For the style we need to select reflected, and for the angle we need to do 0. Now what we need to do is just double click on the gradient and then click on black. We're going to use a darkish green. We're going to bring this white to about halfway. That should do it. And we're going to double click on that and select a lighter green. Lastly, near the end of this, we're going to double click and then select a white, or probably make it a little bit more green. And then click OK again, and then click OK once more. After that, you should be left for this. Now what we're going to do is duplicate this 5 more times, or as many times as you want. I'm just doing it because it's what I used for the AMD processor video. So we're going to hold down Alt and press the Move tool. So when we move it, it should duplicate. We're going to make these evenly spaced out as best as we can. You could probably spend a little bit more time, but I'm kind of rushing right now. And when we're done with that, we need to select all of these power bars, or whatever you want to call them, in the layer panel. And we're going to press Ctrl and E to merge them all together. Now what you can do now is just move it wherever you want. You need to press Ctrl and then double click on the thumbnail in the layer panel for the power bars. Now you need to click on the layer below it, the very first layer that we made, and press delete. After you press deselect, you can see the effect that it has. And that's what we're aiming for. After this, you can add text and anything you want. So after you've done that, what you need to then do is make sure you deselect the background layer, the bottom one. You're going to save these power bars as, I don't know, power bars. And you need to save it as a PNG. You can choose interlaced or none, it's totally up to you. So you deselect that and then select the other layer, and do exactly the same. So now that's done, we're going to go over into Sony Vegas Pro. So now we're in Sony Vegas Pro, and we have our two PNG images that we imported. So what we're just going to do is drag them into timeline, and probably should have done this in Photoshop, but we can't go back now. We're going to drag another color in just for the background picture, and we're going to drag a black as well in, and pull that directly underneath the power bars. So anyway, let's go back to the power bars. What I did is basically made a standard fade around about here, and then I went to transitions. We're going to go for a linear wipe, and we're going to select one that goes up. So probably bottom up hard edge, and we're going to drag it into the fade. Now what will happen here is when we play it back, it'll do the power bar going up. You can obviously customize the blur if you want to, just by clicking on the effect itself and then adding feather, and that should make things a little bit smoother. And if you want to do the fade out, it's just the reverse. So we've made another fade here, and now we're going to do one going down. And again, we'll select a feather that we like. So if we resize this black layer just a little bit, you can see the effect right here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye.